All right. We had mentioned at the top of the show we were going to talk with the curator of the Museum of UnCut Funk. I think we have her on. Pamela, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, and I want to thank you for having me.
Okay. So first of all, Pamela, where are you from? What area are you in?
We're in New Jersey, central New Jersey.
Okay. All right. Is it very hot and muggy back there? Because it sure is out here.
Oh, it's unbelievable. If this is the beginning of summer, I don't know what to expect for the rest of the summer. Unbelievable.
Yeah, people are saying the same thing around here in Denver. So, okay, well, we got that same thing going on. All right, okay, Pamela, so you're the curator of the Museum of UnCut Funk. Now, of course, maybe some of our listeners might think that that's an actual building, with artifacts and things in it. But why don't you tell our listeners what it is?
Well, the Museum of UnCut Funk is a virtual museum that I developed maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and it houses my entire collection of 1970s black popular culture artifacts. So in the collection, we have about 800 movie posters, both American and international, from the blaxploitation movie era. We have a very unique collection of original animated cells and original production drawings from all of the black cartoons from the 1970s, the Saturday morning cartoons. These are the original cells and drawings that were used under the camera to make the actual cartoons. We have a collection of all of the stamps that the U.S. Postal Service has ever produced with black images on them. We have a coin collection of black people that are on the coins, both gold and silver. We have advertising signs that date farther back than the 1970s, but they are so unique. And when we can find an original piece, we try to add it to the collection. And we also have a very large collection of 1970s comic books with black superheroes on them.
Wow. So evidently, did you start collecting this stuff back in the 70s?
No, actually, my background is in African-American history, and I was part owner of a gallery several years ago, and my business partner had a very unique collection of animated cells from Looney Tunes and Walt Disney and so on, and I just thought it would be really cool to start collecting the cells from the black cartoons, and once I started doing that, that led to collecting posters, to the comic books, and anything else I could find from the 1970s.
Okay. Well, I went to the site and looked around, and I must say it's very extensive, and there's stuff on there that I never would have imagined existed. So, go ahead.
I have to tell you, I think the 1970s is one of the greatest decades ever. I mean, you're coming out of the civil rights movement, you're going into the black power movement, and, even if you weren't a person of color, it was a very exciting time to be a part of. I mean, you had funk music, you had people taking a stand and things that they believed in, and it was just a very bold and in-your-face time to be a part of. And I think, we have gone from the 1960s to the 1980s, and, it's like a whole decade has been forgotten about. And, my whole goal is to, remind people that there was the 70s, and the 70s was, as Don Cornelius would say, the hippest trip in America. And I just think it was one of the greatest decades ever, and we need to remember it.
Okay. Well, and that's one of the reasons why this show, too, continually plays music from that era. So, with that having been said, now, why did you name it the Museum of UnCut Funk?
Because the 70s was all about funk music, funky fashions, funky advertisement, the afro, the clothing, the vibe, and it was just a good time, in-your-face kind of vibe that was happening, that there was no other name to call this museum. And, I'm a huge fan of museums. I love the arts, but it seems like there's always the same type of programming, in my opinion, when you go to museums. So I just wanted to put a different spin on a decade that I don't think was being covered like it should be. And you very seldom see collections of this magnitude in museums. So I just think the name is really befitting for this type of collection.
Okay. I must say so. When I went through the site and looked at it, I thought, wow, I thought too that it was appropriately named. So, Pamela, tell everybody where they can go to go visit your site. What's the address?
It is www.museumofuncutfunk.com.
Okay, say it one more time.
www.museumofuncutfunk.com.
Okay, so there y'all have it, listeners. We got listeners on this station in 45, 50 countries plus. So go to that website, museumofuncutfunk.com. So Pamela, thank you for staying up back there in the East. I know it's a couple hours later, but we appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about your museum, and continued success with all of that.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for having me on. I truly do appreciate it.
Okay, have a good evening.
You do the same. Thank you.
All right. Okay, y'all, so there it is, Pamela Thomas, the curator of the Museum of UnCut Funk. I would recommend you go there and just browse around. Wow, a lot of historical stuff is there.